You walk into the store, just to look, right? You've been telling yourself for months that your current phone is fine. The battery drains a little fast. The screen has that tiny crack in the corner that looks like a spider web, but it works. It sends texts, it makes calls, it scrolls through Instagram. But then you hold the new one. The glass is cool and smooth. The screen is impossibly bright. The camera has 3 lenses instead of 2. And suddenly, that phone in your pocket feels like a relic from the Stone Age. You justify it immediately. You say, I use this for work, or I need a better battery for emergencies, or the trade-in value is actually pretty good right now. So you buy it. You walk out of the store feeling that rush of dopamine, that electric buzz of upgrading your life. But here's the thing. You don't just buy the phone, because that sleek new titanium device looks ridiculous in your old yellowing clear case, so you buy the $50 leather case. And then you realize your old wired headphones are cumbersome and don't even fit the new port, so you drop $200 on the wireless earbuds. And now that you have the premium tech ecosystem, that old crack laptop you use looks out of place, doesn't it? It's slow. It doesn't sync perfectly. 2 months later, you've upgraded your entire digital life, your monthly payments have jumped by $150, and your bank account looks exactly the same as it did before. The rush is gone. The new phone is just a phone now, and you are left wondering why, despite that raise you got 3 months ago, you still feel broke. This isn't an accident. It's a psychological trigger that has been hacked by marketers to keep you on a hamster wheel of consumption until the day you die. My name is Mr. Invests, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of money and why our brains are wired to sabotage our bank accounts. If you're someone who looks at their pay stub and wonders how you can make decent money but still feel like you're drowning in expenses, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Today, we aren't talking about avocado toast or skipping your latte. We're talking about the hidden psychological trap that is making you poor, regardless of how much money you earn. It's called the Diderot Effect, combined with a little nasty economic reality called Parkinson's Law. Denis Diderot was a French philosopher in the 1700s. He was poor his whole life, until one day he received a large sum of money and bought a beautiful scarlet robe. But when he put on the robe, he noticed something bothering him. His old rug looked tattered next to the new robe, so he replaced the rug. Then his chair looked cheap next to the new rug, so he replaced the chair. Eventually, he replaced everything in his house to match the elegance of the robe, and he ended up broke again. Sound familiar? It should, because you do this every single day. Here's what most people don't realize about their own behavior. You think you're making independent financial decisions. You think you decide to buy the car, then you decide to buy the house, then you decide to take the vacation. But you aren't. You are reacting to a chain reaction that you started years ago. This is where the math gets brutal. Let's look at the numbers, because mathematics doesn't care about your feelings or your justifications. Let's say you're earning $50,000 a year. You live in a modest apartment, you drive a used Honda, you eat out maybe once a week. You feel tight, you feel stressed. You tell yourself, if I just made $70,000, everything would be solved. I could save, I could invest, I could breathe. So you work hard. You grind. 3 years later, you get that promotion. You are now making $70,000. That is a $20,000 increase. That is huge. Mathematically, you should have an extra $1,600 a month, roughly, before taxes. Even after taxes, that's over $1,000 of pure surplus cash flow every single month. You should be rich. You should be stacking cash. But you aren't. Why? Because of Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. But in finance, the law is even deadlier. Expenditures rise to meet income. When you are making $50,000, you shopped at the discount grocery store. Now that you make $70,000, you shop at Whole Foods because you care about your health now. When you were making $50,000, that used Honda was reliable transportation. Now that you make $70,000, it's an embarrassment in the corporate parking lot. So you lease the entry-level BMW because you need to look the part for clients. You move to a slightly nicer apartment because you deserve a safer neighborhood. Let's break down the actual math of that $20,000 raise to show you exactly where it vanishes. The government takes their cut immediately. So let's say you're left with $15,000 actual take-home increase. That's $1,250 a month roughly before taxes. You upgrade your apartment, that's an extra $500 rent. You upgrade the car, that's an extra $350 payment plus higher insurance. You upgrade your food and entertainment, that's an extra $400. Let's do the addition. 500 plus 350 plus 400 equals $1,250. You have successfully spent every single penny of your raise on things that are now fixed costs. You haven't just spent the money once. You have obligated your future self to continue spending that money every single month forever. And here is the kicker, the part that really keeps people poor. You don't feel richer. In fact, you might feel poorer. When you drove the Honda and lived in the cheaper apartment, your expenses were lower, so your emergency threshold was lower. Now your monthly nut, the amount you need just to survive, is higher. If you lose your job at $50,000 expenses, it's a crisis. If you lose your job with $70,000 expenses, it's a catastrophe. You have built a golden cage for yourself, and you handed the key to the bank. This is the psychological trap. We normalize our new reality almost instantly. It's called hedonic adaptation. The human brain is designed to return to a baseline level of happiness. That dopamine hit you got from the BMW, it lasts maybe 3 weeks. After a month, it's just your car. It's just the metal box you sit in while you're stuck in traffic. But the payment? The payment lasts for 60 months. You're paying for a feeling that evaporated 5 years ago. Now, you might be thinking, but Mr. Invests, things cost money. I have kids, inflation is up. It's not lifestyle creep, it's just the cost of living. Look, I get it. Inflation is real. Prices go up. But let's be honest with ourselves. There is a difference between the price of eggs going up and the necessity of upgrading your iPhone every 2 years. There's a difference between paying the electric bill and financing a Peloton you use as a clothes rack. We use inflation as a shield to hide our bad habits. We tell ourselves we're victims of the economy when really we're victims of our own lack of discipline. I see this all the time with high earners. I know people making $250,000 a year who live paycheck to paycheck. Think about that. They're in the top 5% of earners in the country, and they have zero net worth. How is that even mathematically possible? It's possible because they've convinced themselves that they need the $250,000 lifestyle. They need the private school, the country club membership, the 2 SUVs, the vacations to Tulum. They have allowed their identity to become improved by their spending. And this is dangerous because once your spending becomes your identity, cutting back feels like dying. It feels like you were losing yourself. Most people approach their finances with a leftover mentality. They pay everyone else first. They pay the landlord, the car dealership, the restaurant owner, the subscription services, and then at the end of the month, they look at the scraps left in their account, if there are any, and say, okay, I guess I'll save this. But because of the Diderot effect, there's never anything left. Your brain is a subconscious. It is a goal-seeking missile. If it knows there's money in the account, it will find a problem that money can solve. Oh, the washing machine is making a weird noise. Better replace it. Oh, my friends are going to that concert. I should go. The money burns a hole in your pocket because you haven't given it a job. But there is a level deeper than just buying things. It's about why we buy them. We aren't just buying utility. We are buying status. We are buying acceptance. We are buying a temporary relief from the anxiety of feeling like we aren't enough. And marketers know this. They know that if they can make you feel inadequate, you will pay anything to make that feeling go away. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. The feeling doesn't go away when you buy the thing. It just shifts to the next thing. This brings us to the most dangerous aspect of this trap, something that relates to how your brain processes the future. Your brain is evolutionarily wired to fail at modern finance. It's called hyperbolic discounting. In simple terms, your brain values immediate rewards significantly more than future rewards. If I offered you $100 today or $110 a month from now, almost everyone takes the $100 today. Logically, it's a bad move. That's a 10% return in 1 month, which is an annualized return of over 200%. Warren Buffett would kill for those returns. But your lizard brain doesn't care about annualized returns. It cares that there is a crispy $100 bill in front of it right now. This served us well when we were hunter-gatherers. If you killed a mammoth, you ate it immediately because there were no refrigerators and you might die next week. Saving for the future didn't exist because the future wasn't guaranteed. But today, you are likely going to live to be 85, yet you're still operating with software that thinks tomorrow is a gamble. This is why you struggle to save for retirement. To your brain, future you is a stranger. You don't know him, you don't care about him, and you certainly don't want to sacrifice your latte today so that some wrinkly stranger can play golf in 30 years. But here's where it gets really interesting, and frankly, a little terrifying. You aren't just choosing today over tomorrow. You are actively stealing from tomorrow to fund today. Every time you finance a liability, a car, a couch, a TV, you are borrowing from your future self at an interest rate that keeps you enslaved. Let's look at the "I deserve it" trap. This is a phrase that keeps the middle class in the middle class. You have a hard week at work, your boss was a jerk, the commute was awful, and you are exhausted. You walk past the mall or you open Amazon and you say, "I work hard, I deserve this," and you buy the thing. Here is a harsh truth that nobody wants to tell you. You do deserve it. You deserve to be happy. You deserve nice things. But do you deserve to be broke? Do you deserve to work until you are 75 because you couldn't say no to a series of $50 purchases in your 30s? Let's run the numbers on "I deserve it." Let's take the average new car payment in America, which is currently hovering around $730 a month. That is insane, by the way. But let's say you are responsible and you only spend $500 a month on a car payment. You drive that car for 5 years. That's $30,000 principal plus maybe $5,000 in interest. So that car costs you $35,000. But that isn't the real cost. The real cost is the opportunity cost. If you had taken that same $500 a month and invested it in a standard S&P 500 index fund averaging 10% returns over the next 30 years, because that is the lifespan of your wealth-building career, that money wouldn't be $35,000. It would have grown to over $1 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. If you invested $500 a month from age 25 to 55, you have over $1 million. So when you sign that lease for the BMW because you deserve it, you aren't spending $500 a month. You are taking a lighter to $1 million of your future wealth and setting it on fire so you can look cool at a red light for the next 3 years. Is the leather seat worth $1 million? I don't think so. This brings us to the second psychological killer, social comparison. We are social animals. We look to our tribe to see how we are doing. In the past, if your neighbor had a bigger hut, you knew he was a better hunter. Today, if your neighbor has a new Tesla, you assume he is rich. But here is a secret. He's probably broke. There was a study done by the Federal Reserve that found that neighbors of lottery winners are more likely to go bankrupt. Why? Because when the lottery winner buys a new car and renovates their house, the neighbors feel the pressure to keep up. They spend money they don't have to compete with money the winner didn't earn. We are playing a status game where the only way to win is not to play. You look at Instagram and see your friends in Greece, in Bali, at Michelin star restaurants, and you feel behind. You feel like a failure. So you book the trip on a credit card. You go to the dinner you can't afford. You post a photo. And now you have the likes. You have the external validation. But the dinner is over. The trip is over. And the bill is still there. You are buying things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't even like. Here's what most people don't realize about wealth. Wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the nice car not purchased, the diamond not bought, the first-class upgrade declined. Wealth is financial assets that haven't been converted into the stuff you see. But because we can't see bank accounts, we judge success by material possessions. This creates a feedback loop of poverty. You see someone with a nice car and think he's successful, I should do what he does. So you buy a nice car. But he bought that car with debt. So now you are both mimicking bad financial behavior, reinforcing the idea that looking rich is the same as being rich. Real wealth is boring. It's quiet. It's your 401k growing in the background. It's having 6 months of expenses in a savings account so that when your boss acts like a jerk, you can sleep soundly because you aren't desperate. The guy in the Ferrari might be one missed paycheck away from ruin. The guy in the 10-year-old Toyota might be a multimillionaire. You have to stop judging your financial health by your optical health. The problem is, the entire economy is designed to obscure this truth. Every commercial, every billboard, every influencer is screaming at you that happiness is one purchase away. They are weaponizing your own psychology against you. They know about the Diderot Effect. They know about hyperbolic discounting. They are betting millions of dollars on the fact that you can't control your impulses. And right now, they are winning. Look, I am not saying you have to live like a monk. I am not saying you can never buy a coffee or go on a vacation. I love vacations. I love nice things. But you have to earn the right to buy them. You have to flip the equation. Most people spend first and save what is left. You need to save first and spend what is left. It sounds simple, but psychologically, it is the hardest thing you will ever do because it requires fighting millions of years of evolution that screams, consume now. But here's where it gets tricky. Even if you understand the math and even if you understand the psychology, there's one more trap. It's the big win fallacy. You tell yourself, I'll get my finances in order when I get that big break, when I sell my business, when I inherit money, when I hit the lottery. You're waiting for a miracle event to fix a behavioral problem. Let me tell you about lottery winners. Statistics show that 70% of lottery winners end up broke within a few years. Why? Because money doesn't fix money problems. Money just magnifies who you already are. If you are bad with $1,000, you will be catastrophic with $1 million. If you have spending habits that scale with your income, more income just means more debt. You are waiting for a lifeboat, but you are the captain of the ship. You have to patch the hole. And the hole isn't your income. The hole is your mind. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Mr. Invest, I get it. I'm wired to be broke. The system is rigged. The math is against me. So what do I actually do? How do I fight biology and economics at the same time without making my life miserable? This is the pivot point. We have identified the enemy. The enemy is in the mirror. But knowing the enemy is only half the battle. You need a weapon. You need a system that bypasses your willpower completely. Because if you rely on willpower, you will fail. Willpower is a battery. It drains throughout the day. By 8 p.m., when you're tired and scrolling online, your willpower is at 0. That is when you make the mistakes. So we need to remove willpower from the equation entirely. We need to automate your financial life so that future you gets paid before present you even gets a chance to sabotage it. So how do we hack the system? How do we use psychology to fight psychology? We have to build a defense mechanism that is stronger than your impulses. We have to make saving the path of least resistance and spending the path of most resistance. Right now, it is the opposite. It is effortless to spend, one click on Amazon, one tap of your card, and it is difficult to save. You have to log in, transfer funds, and decide how much. We need to flip that friction. Here is the protocol. Step 1 is what I call the invisible wall. You need to set up a direct deposit split with your employer. If you get paid $4,000 a month, you tell HR to send $500 of that directly to a separate high-yield savings account or brokerage account at a completely different bank, not a checking account, a place you cannot touch with a debit card. You never see this money. It never hits your main checking account. To your lizard brain, that money doesn't exist. You learn to live on the $3,500 that actually shows up. You will panic for the first month. You will feel broke. Good. That feeling of scarcity will force you to prioritize. But after 3 months, Parkinson's law will work in your favor. Your expenses will shrink to meet your perceived income of $3,500. You won't even miss the $500 because you never had it in your hand to begin with. You are tricking your brain into being poor so you can actually be rich. Step 2 is the time cost translation. Stop looking at price tags in dollars. Dollars are abstract. They're just numbers on a screen. Start looking at price tags in hours of your life. This is the only currency that actually matters. Calculate your real hourly wage after taxes. If you make $60,000 a year, your take-home pay is roughly $20 to $25 an hour, depending on where you live. Now look at that new $1,200 iPhone. That isn't $1,200. That is roughly 50 hours of your life. That is more than a full week of sitting in a cubicle, dealing with your boss, answering emails, and dealing with stress. Ask yourself, is this phone worth trading 50 hours of my freedom for? Sometimes the answer is yes, but usually when you frame it as trading your life force for a piece of plastic, the answer is a hard no. That $5 latte isn't $5, it's 15 minutes of work. Is the coffee worth staying at work 15 minutes later? This simple reframe destroys impulse buying because it makes the cost visceral. Step 3 is the 72-hour waiting period. This combats the dopamine rush. Marketing is designed to create urgency. Sale ends soon, only 3 left in stock. They want you to bypass logic and act on emotion. Your countermove is to do nothing. If you want to buy something that costs more than $100 and it's not a basic necessity like food or medicine, you must wait 72 hours. Put it in the cart, walk away. Set a timer on your phone. During those 3 days, the dopamine will fade. The logic will kick back in. You will realize that you don't actually need the item. You just wanted the feeling of buying it. 90% of the time when the timer goes off, you will delete the item from the cart and feel a sense of relief, not regret. You just saved yourself money by doing absolutely nothing. Step 4 is the subscription audit. This tackles the Diderot Effect on a micro level. We accumulate small monthly costs that stack up into a mountain. We have Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify, gym memberships, cloud storage, and premium app subscriptions. Each one feels insignificant. It's only $10, but together they're a $200 monthly leak in your boat. That is $2,400 a year. Print out your bank statement from the last 3 months. Take a red pen. Circle every recurring charge. Be ruthless. If you haven't used it in the last 30 days, cancel it. It doesn't matter if you might use it later. Cancel it now. If you really need it later, you can sign up again. But you probably won't. This clears the clutter and stops the passive bleeding of your wealth. Now let's address the biggest objection I hear. But I want to enjoy my life now. I don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard. I hate this argument. It is a false dichotomy. You think the choice is between being miserable now and rich later, or happy now and broke later. That is nonsense. You can be happy now without spending everything you earn. In fact, you will be happier. Do you know what creates misery? Stress. Anxiety, waking up at 3 a.m. wondering how you're going to pay for the car repair. Living on the financial edge is not fun. It is terrifying. When you have savings, when you have investments, when you aren't a slave to your credit card bill, you walk differently. You have FU money. If your boss tells you to do something unethical or stays late for no reason, you can say no because you don't need the paycheck desperately. You have a cushion. That is freedom. That is happiness. The new car smells good for a month. The feeling of financial security feels good every single day for the rest of your life. Which one do you actually want? We have to redefine what success looks like. Society tells you success is the big house and the luxury car. I'm telling you success is time. Success is autonomy. Success is waking up in the morning and doing what you want to do, because your assets pay for your life, not your labor. Every dollar you spend on consumer garbage is a soldier you just killed, a soldier that could have been out there fighting for your freedom, capturing more dollars and building your army. Instead, you traded him for a pair of sneakers. Stop killing your soldiers. This is where it gets really interesting. Once you start this process, once you break the Diderot chain, you start to find joy in minimalism. You realize that the stuff was actually weighing you down. The more stuff you own, the more stuff owns you. You have to clean it, store it, insure it, fix it, and worry about it. When you stop buying, you reclaim your mental bandwidth. You stop comparing yourself to the Joneses because you realize the Joneses are drowning in debt and antidepressants. You are playing a different game. You are playing the game of freedom. Let me leave you with this final thought. You are the architect of your own future. Every time you tap that card, you are casting a vote. You are voting for either the current you who wants a quick hit of pleasure or the future you who wants security and freedom. The current you is loud, emotional, and persuasive. The future you is silent. He can't speak up. He can't stop you. He just has to live with the consequences of whatever you decide today. Be kind to him. He is you. Stop acting like a consumer and start acting like an investor. Stop reacting to marketing and start executing a plan. The trap is set. The marketers are waiting. The psychology is against you. But now you know the game. You know the rules. You know the math. The question is, do you have the courage to walk out of the store, close the Amazon tab, and pay yourself first? It won't be easy. Your brain will scream. Your friends will question you. You might feel a little boring for a while, but in 10 years, when you're looking at a 7-figure net worth and they are still complaining about the economy and their car payments, you will know you made the right choice. Don't let the Diderot Effect write your life story. Write it yourself, one disciplined decision at a time. The hidden trap is only dangerous if you don't see it. Now you see it. Step over it. My name is Mr. Invests, and I hope this video just saved you a fortune. If it did, do me a favor, smash that like button so the algorithm shows this to more people who need to wake up, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next truth bomb. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.